call this meeting to order.
Here's your stress test.
Auditor McNichol, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss to approve the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll open the meeting up for any public comments come before the commission. Is there anyone here that would like to address the commission on any issue today? Questions, comments, concerns?
I'd like to address, we need a new phone.
Let the minister reflect on the phone.
The auditor didn't have any trouble with it.
Well, when you put it over, I think it probably was disconnected.
Yeah.
Well, it's fixed now.
Okay.
Maybe we just need to move the phone.
Yeah, to the chairman.
You all saw the problems I used to have. Morning, Darwin.
Good morning.
Anything to come before the Brown County Commission this morning in the way of public comment? Seeing none, we will move on. Is there anyone out there on the internet that would like to address us? We'll move on. Next item on the agenda, Landfill Department to discuss fire truck purchase request from federal surplus. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I've got a request for I guess it's a fire truck from federal surplus, but we use them for our wastewater, our leachate recirculation at the landfill, and we use these trucks daily, every day of the year. So it's just time to, we've got a couple of them that are having issues with oil consumption and other problems, so it's time to, for $12,000, this machine, this fire truck will help us with that process, so.
The other two trucks you have, will the parts off those work on this new one?
They won't work on this one, but they'll work
Okay.
on the ones that we have.
Sure.
So,
The parts are still available for this one?
yep.
Okay.
And like I said, federal surplus went through this truck already. They go through them, they give you a 30-day warranty. So, like I said, for $12,000, it lasts us a year. We've got our money back out of it already, so it's.
Will you have to go pick it up?
We'll have to go pick it up.
Is there any salvage value to the ones that are left, or are they basically scrap?
They'll probably be scrapped by the time we're done with them. Like I said, we'll try and piece parts off and try and make one good one out of what we have left.
What is there, two other trucks out there?
Yeah.
And this will be the third
Yeah.
one.
So,
So you use them operationally on a daily basis, but you also
Operationally.
have staff that are trained and they're available for fire suppression in certain instances.
it depends.
Limit
We've kind of
load.
gone through this before, but we're not trained in firefighting, so it would have to be something where we were
Pretty well on site.
on site, where we can maintain our own. We've put out a lot of our own fires,
Mm-hmm.
that could have gotten out of hand. So all we had to do is drive up. With these trucks too, we used to have 20 years ago, we used to have a 1,000-gallon tank and a hose. These you can drive right up to it, pinpoint it, and you're done. So,
They're really not designed for like grass fire or brush fire or anything
Right.
like that, but if you get there quick enough in one spot, you could do
Yeah.
some.
yeah, well, quite a few years ago, we did help with
Mm-hmm.
quite a few fires, one out by Richmond, and those were grass fires. And they had their grass rigs right there next to us. We were just driving by and just blowing out those. I mean, it was just, these are about a 1,000-gallon truck, and like I said, they're very well worth their weight in gold to us, so.
Yeah, they're originally
I'll move it.
designed for aircraft. Second.
Is that something that, will be hauled, or will that be driven back?
It'll be driven back. So, we'll find out how good it is.
Would it be easier to have it transported back?
I could talk to Dirk on the little boy transport.
That maybe wouldn't be a bad
You know.
idea, because you're buying and all that, I don't know if there's a way to shift them out of all-wheel drive or not.
It depends. They'll probably go down and take a look at it first before we actually go get it. But
Because that's quite a,
a haul back would be nice.
Probably just
Somebody
about
could
as
haul
cheap,
back.
because I don't suspect the mileage is very good on that, and I suspect the speed is probably.
It's not good on the drivetrain.
I would suspect
Yeah.
that would be
55
my
would be pushing
concern
it.
on that pavement, the drivetrain.
We'll try and get it hauled back,
Dirk's got a
Sure.
brand new boy. You
Yeah.
might want to try that
as
out.
long as we get somebody. He does have a new one?
Yeah.
I'll check with Dirk, I'm sure we can work something out.
Good timing.
All right, we have a motion by Pfeiffer, second by Gage to authorize the purchase of the fire truck. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
That's all I got.
Thank you,
All
bud.
right.
All right, thank you.
Spring cleanup going well?
Spring cleanup is going well.
Good.
Not as busy as in past years, but that's to be, once the pandemic is partly over, and the weather's causing us a little bit of
Sure.
downtime, but
This is the first time in a couple of years that we've had a couple options in town, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Back to abnormal.
back to abnormal.
All right.
All right.
Every day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Next item on the agenda, Scott Bader to discuss pumping into Moccasin Creek. Good morning.
Good morning.
Scott?
Yeah.
Morning, Scott.
Good morning.
I just made one copy for the commission to
Oh, okay.
have for record.
That's not going, huh?
I received a phone call and an email from an engineer that wants to lay some pipe in the ditch from the Beef Plant Lagoon, go to the north, to pump into the Moccasin Creek. They wanna lower the lagoon to repair a liner, hole, I guess it is. And apparently it's been leaking for quite a while. This is the same lagoon that they had requested the commission to irrigate on farmer's land, I think it was last year. And that kind of went still or stable or something. So I asked them to send me some information. I asked them if they had things approved from the state and the EPA and stuff, and at this time they do not. So I asked them for the paperwork, and the stuff that I received was pretty blank, without answers and stuff. There's different choices, 3 or 4 different choices. They need to make one that works or something, and that hasn't been determined totally yet as far as draining the lagoon. So I went down there on Friday and tried to get myself familiar with the area there, and happened to notice that some black stuff was bubbling out of a manhole cover, and the cover was kind of lifting, and got out of my vehicle, and I thought it was a Beverly Hillbillies the way it looked, and I caught a whiff of that, and I knew right away what that was all tied to. So I had called DANR and asked them if they had anything in progress. This stuff was going towards the creek, and not far away, actually, probably within 10 feet, and depends on how much comes out, and it's either plugged or a valve is shut off and it can't go anywhere from the plant, so it's coming up at the low manhole, which is right next to the creek. So they asked me to send them some pictures, and I texted them some pictures on Friday. And then on the weekend, they was still doing the same thing, and then yesterday, there was a track hoe and working on digging up some stuff. So there was something going on there, but the state reacted quickly to it. I had contacted Warner Township and talked to them about future pumping, if it all gets approved for being neutralized. And then the James River Watershed District probably would want to also check into that or be notified. I requested all the paperwork from the city that they might have for the beef plant from the beginning. Working on another project with the plant manager, with another part of the plant that they're working on.
Rendering.
Rendering, there you go. I knew that word was up there somewhere. So there's 2 or 3 4 projects going on with the beef plant right now. And this one here, that stuff was going, I'm pretty sure it's in the lagoon and kind of neutralizing itself, you know, with the amount of water and that stuff that's kind of coming up and just running a little bit. I would recommend, they wanted a permission, I guess, something from us, and at this time I would recommend not giving any permission. The mog's high and they have some other problems going on first. But I don't know if you guys have any comments to that or not. They want to lower the lagoon and fix the liner as a project, so.
You mentioned they had some track hole work going on. Is that in the right of way, or is that on private property where they were doing that work right now, or?
Yeah, the manholes are in the right of way, it looks like. And that'd be Warner Township.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't they, if they're gonna irrigate, why did they not irrigate, and why can't they pump it down by irrigating or getting it out on the land rather than dumping it into Moxon Creek? That's my curiosity. I mean, what happened because they didn't, if they would have irrigated with it, wouldn't it seem reasonable that the level would be lower? So
Yep.
what's going on?
I think the farmer backed out on it, the landowner. The one that they came in here and presented to the commission to get permission, that never happened, and he backed out, and then they either had another spot that they were checking into, or they did have another spot, but then nothing ever happened, so that's been kind of sitting idle for about a year.
Why would we give approval as a county if the state and the appropriate entities have to approve it first? My concern is we give authority, are they gonna bypass the other two? I would think that, you know, the DNRA and the state would control that more than us. I guess if they get the appropriate control out of the state in the appropriate places, then I think we can be involved, but until that, I don't think we have a say in it. I believe it comes from the top down, not to a bottom up.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, 'cause at this time, they don't have anything that's accepted. They don't even have their testing done.
Yeah, see.
And, you know, and the paperwork, this is what he sent me, these forms, and I mean, they're not even complete, as far as what they need to do, so I just think it's too early, and,
So did they send those forms to you, or they just called you and then you had to request to say, you know, we need a formal request, so they
yeah.
had gone through it to begin with?
Copy of the email from the engineer, I requested information. I told him that we need to have some sort of information. And originally when I asked him, I said, well, is there any information that you have from EPA or the state or something in that nature? And he says, well, that has nothing to do with you. I just need permission to lay the pipe to drain it. And I said, well,
I don't know how the valve opened.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got opened.
Yeah.
Well, because Moxon Creek is in navigable water, you know, it's out of our jurisdiction to allow pumping into it, in my opinion. You know, that's Corps of Engineer or DANR or someone should have jurisdiction over what goes into that, because eventually it ends up in the James River, and I mean, who knows what's in what they're pumping, so.
Right. You
So
know,
I
and
think
if it's
until
not
they get
tested-
permission from one of those higher up, or, you know, higher governmental entity, I think it's out of our hands and we can't grant permission, in my opinion.
Yeah, the creeks are pretty full from drain tile and stuff this spring, you know, and 41 million gallons is what the email said.
Who's monitoring what quality that material is? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean,
Is that fall under EPA?
Yeah, what's in it?
What's in it?
Well, I think that's what the project is with this engineer, you know, but asking us to give him permission, I think, is the cart before the horse scenario. And I don't know if they have plugged piping, if they had valves shut down, where that stuff was coming up, and the manhole cover, all 3 or 4 manholes that I've seen, the covers were either laying on the side or readjusted like it's
So
floated
where's
them
this
off
stuff
before.
supposed to be going, down into that lagoon?
Yeah.
That's where it's supposed to be going, is down into the lagoon, or?
Well,
or-
when they came in here and talked about irrigating it to the farmer last year, they said that the lagoon hasn't been used in quite a while.
Right, they were gonna just draw it
And that
down.
water should be neutralized from sitting there and rainwater and so forth, which I don't think is the case.
So I guess I'm still a little bit confused about this stuff that they wanna put into the Moxon Creek. Is that normally going into the Aberdeen's wastewater treatment plant, or is it going to the lagoon, and they're trying to put it into the Moxon Creek? What?
I don't think anything's been done for quite a while from the way they explained it, if it's following that path. But they said they haven't used the lagoon, and it was full, and they wanted to lower it down, so that they could use it. But that water was supposed to have been sitting there for like 3 years, if I remember, something like that.
So the county approved something, and the appropriate entities would say, well, that should have never happened, EPA or DNRA, and all of a sudden, can they come after the county saying, you approved it without state approval, without the appropriate people? I think the county would have some liability, so I'm not willing to do it until they get the appropriate documentation from the top going down.
Sure. Yeah, you need to have some sort of paperwork, is what I told the guy, and we can't just give him permission to lay pipe.
Right.
And I also said that, you know, a township has some authority here too, as far as the pipe or the creek, so,
Right.
you know, a lot of citizens, flood when that creek floods, so, you know, what is the process? And, it says in here, in the time frame from July to, I think it was September. It's either August or September. You know, and it said 41 million gallons, and 8 million of that was sludge, so they have a plan for the sludge.
Yeah, because they definitely got responsibility for the treatment of a lot of that waste material, whether they partner together with a municipality or if they're doing it themselves. They can't just take anything and just dump it out there.
Yeah, and the gray water side, I think, is what they want to pump down.
So we're told.
Yeah, you know, I don't know where, so far, things did not really line up with the stars as far as what's supposed to be happening, so.
So our next step would be to draft a letter stating until they have the appropriate approval from EPA and DNRA and whatever it has to be.
Corps of Engineers.
We're not willing to make any decision. Is that what we want to do?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we should draft a letter and, you know, if you want to, we can have chairman sign it. If not, we
Hey,
can
Ross.
just email it.
A request from the beef plant for a pipe to go from the lagoon to the MOG without any documentation that we're aware of from DANR and EPA about quality and...
Okay.
We just don't think we have jurisdiction to grant permission to pump right into Moxon Creek without DANR or some higher authority that has jurisdiction over that body of water. They should be the ones granting permission, not us.
Corps of Engineers or somebody.
Okay, we can look into that.
Please. Sorry.
And you can see, and if you
Good to see you this
look
morning.
at the soils and stuff, you can tell that this liner's been leaking for quite a long time. The right-of-way ditch by the lagoon is all filled with gravel and evened out stuff covering up the soils, and then there's another pocket where, water above ground, they got
Under.
a big dirt pile there to cover that up. That got delivered or something, but, it looks like it's been leaking for quite a while.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Shift gears a little bit, you mentioned the rendering plant. I guess, I got two questions. One is, did they get a building permit, and do they need it to add on? And then, do they have a clean air or a permit from the state? I think, I'm not so sure, but what on rendering plants, maybe they don't need a permit or something from the state for clean air quality. Just wondered if there's, where that's at or where that's going.
Yeah. I inquired with the plant manager whether a rendering plant was being installed, and I had heard the equipment and everything was on site being installed. The original, I have a copy in there, the original permits from the city, it does say footings and foundation with rendering plant, but if the rendering plant was never completed or put into motion, the state statute, you have 2 years for anything that's approved through the zoning board, which would be obviously expired. We've had jurisdiction for 3 years now, and
That's what I was gonna say, those permits sunset, they don't last
Yeah.
forever.
and our permit process has a 2-year period. So, you know, even if they had something approved from the city prior to us getting the jurisdiction, that would already be expired if they don't have it done. So that's why I requested some information from the city to see what all they have in place on permitting and stuff. The original one, they had, they approved the use, and then with the stipulations, and there was, as far as like the sound and noise and the pollution and so forth, they had to give engineering documentation and stuff for that. And I don't know if that ever took place.
So how do we go about finding any of that out?
Well, when the city gets that put together, they're gonna give me a call. So, it looks like 2006 and 7 was kind of the beginning. Does that sound right? When it was first approved?
That's about right.
Is it?
2005 or 6, wasn't it?
And they've had 3 or 4 different owners,
Yeah.
and they've had all these years, you know, the rendering plant was never put in and put to use. It should have to go through the zoning board for
It wasn't part of the original
for
construction.
approval. So,
But I just wonder about a clean air, or maybe that isn't the right word, odor permit or something.
Mitigation plan.
Yeah, through the state. I wonder if there's,
Ask Russ to consider, you know, getting some information and perhaps a letter of cease and desist or whatever.
Scott and I did discuss this one,
Okay.
so, yeah, we're looking into it, but it sounds like they need to apply for a permit.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah,
I don't know if
the
they can-
manager didn't think that they needed to do a permit or go through the zoning board and stuff, and he said all this was taken care of before, and, well, like I say, it's expired, so they have to go back through the process, and the neighbors have to be notified, and we have to publish it, and so forth, in order for it to go forward.
Review the plan and,
easier to ask for permission than it is
Yeah, or
forgiveness
forgiveness,
than for
yeah.
permission.
Yeah, I think we need to draft a letter to cease and desist if they are continuing work on the rendering plant. They need to stop until they come through the appropriate hoops.
Yeah. They are permitted in the southwest corner for a cooler freezer addition, and in the northeast corner, there was a building and large tank. And I think everything would go through the rendering plant and go through a mixture, come to these tanks, and then it would be shipped to the wastewater plant, is what the process would be.
So in the event they don't get a permit, what's the circumstances of that? If they refuse to do it, what authority do we have, or what can we do? I mean, if they just do it, do we have a penalty, or what do we?
Have
I
a
guess
judge
that's my
shut it
next
down.
question. Are they just gonna push the issue and say, what are you gonna do about it? Where are
I
they
had
gonna leave us?
I had a lady contact me from the beef plant, after I said that we're just gonna have to get some plans and stuff, and she said that, well, what they're doing is, they're putting a roof over the loading dock area, they're putting in a 200,000 gallon hot water tank, which would be part of the rendering process, and equipment. So that definitely needs a permit and approval. So we have a start on it, kind of waiting for the reply process to get the information to go from there.
Go ahead, Mike.
When was the last time that you had a tour through there so you know where stuff is at and what would be new
I have not
additions?
had any tours through there. I missed one chance that I had early on, but I haven't been in that plant at all.
I think that'd be a good idea, so then we know if there is any new stuff coming in the future or not.
Yeah,
I know over the years we've requested to have, be provided a tour, and they've turned us down as a commission.
Oh?
So,
Yeah, I had asked the manager, I said, well, let's start with a tour and I can make some notes on the different parts of the plant, and he said, I'm too busy, you'll have to take a number. So, I said, well, if you're that busy, let's just start with some plans.
Does Gene have a tour then, or how do they do the property evaluations if they don't see the inside?
that I can't answer, I don't know if he's been in it or not, can ask him.
I really think a tour is necessary for, since we took over jurisdiction, that we need to be making some notes on the original plans and stuff, what's going on.
Right.
You know, how much has changed, or what's not being used, what part of the plant. As far as the wastewater going, to the lagoon, I think that's the stuff that they usually load up their tanks and ship out. It shouldn't even be going there from the way they explained before. If it wasn't being
They probably
used.
got more volume than that.
Well, they're loading trucks, moving, going north constantly up to the Spring Creek Colony and unloading. I mean, that's it. Truck after truck after truck, the big tanks.
I think it's 5 a day,
So,
something like that. Okay.
I just wonder if there's enough value there to generate enough taxes to service the bonds. There wasn't when it went through bankruptcy.
Yeah, and I guess my thoughts are, there's several different owners, there's several years of permitting projects, all that stuff.
How quick is the city gonna be to respond to your request for your
She's
information?
been through that, well, excuse me, I'm gonna go
Have you been waiting a while already for it?
A week.
A week.
There's gotta be quite a bit to
All he
look
has to
up,
get is
and with their regular,
determined value.
job duties during the day, to put that
Probably should
together.
let us know if you feel like, you're being stiffed on it, or that you're not getting the information you need when you need it. They should get that to you.
Yeah, I would think that, I should have it this week sometime, I would think. But I certainly, give them time, because there's gotta be a lot of paperwork. And they didn't just go through the zoning board once. I
Right.
don't believe it was just a one-time thing and you're gone, but they're zoned properly as heavy industrial, and, any use that they're gonna have there, such as rendering, that has to go through if it hasn't already been in operation.
Right.
I mean, if it was approved in 2006 and 7, then it's approved as a conditional use, but if it never was put into production, or in operation,
They've expired.
it just expired after a couple of years.
Right. Go ahead, Doug.
Do we, as the state attorney office, are we able to draft a letter? Do we have any ability to put any teeth into this, as far as them not getting permitted for their additions, or what are your thoughts?
I would rather discuss this and I can get an exact
Okay.
legal potential of
Okay.
litigation. I don't think it's a good idea to air this out right now.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right, we'll just pursue it then, as we get more information, so.
Right, so we're gonna put a hold on this, we're gonna do a letter. Do you wanna sign that then?
Sure.
Chairman? Okay.
Sure.
So we'll put a letter together to, wait for more information as far as the state and EPA approval.
And just say we don't feel we have jurisdiction to be able to grant permission.
Absolutely.
Entities above us that would have jurisdiction over that.
Yeah,
That issue.
and Darwin's here from Warner Township, and, I felt they certainly needed to be part of our decision, as far as the piping in their right-of-way and the creek in their township and so forth, and then, also contacting the state on Friday. So we kinda took the avenues there, except I didn't contact the Corps of Engineers to ask if they have any jurisdictional rights on the creek itself, but maybe the state would know, 'cause I have, think I have 3 or 4 emails that I seen this morning from the state, different people.
The way I understand it, any navigable water, the Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction over that, I would guess.
I mean, it's worth
Someone
question
knows, yeah.
to the state, to the Corps down at the state.
Yeah, and this person contacted the highway department, to Dirk, and he said, well, it's not his
Right.
jurisdiction, it's a township ditch.
Sure.
And he sent them to me, he said that would be more than just laying pipe in a ditch,
Okay.
obviously, which it is, so.
Maybe they'll use eminent domain.
Go ahead, Mike.
Did they themselves contact Warner Township to get approval also?
No.
'Cause, I mean, it's their, I mean, it's, technically, that means your guys' road
They didn't
and right away
contact
down
Warner
there, so.
Township that you know of,
No.
did they?
Okay, I
Just
didn't
my
know
fault?
if they had something to us and to you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
So as far as what's on the agenda today, the pumping into Mox Creek, we're not gonna grant permission.
Sure.
We'll send a letter explaining why, and that'll take care of today's agenda item. And the rest we will pursue as we get more information.
Yep, and then, I'll check with the Corps of Engineers, also to see if they have anything to add to it.
Maybe get ahold of Dave Bartle with James River Water Development District. They may be able to tell you who has jurisdiction over navigable waters. He may be a resource. And Mike would have that information. He's chairman of their board this year.
There you go.
Dave Bartles is on that board?
He's the CEO or whatever. Mike, I just told Scott to maybe get ahold of Dave Bartles with your organization.
Right, I was gonna call
to see
Dave, so that'd be fine.
Who has jurisdiction over navigable waters.
Well, we definitely wanna be monitoring it, and
Yep.
if there's additional flow, definitely wanna have a conversation about it.
You wanna know what's being discharged into the gym.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, go ahead.
then, in your opinion, we should drop the issue now until we get more information, and do we continue down this road? You had said we should probably be an exec for,
If we're talking about potential litigation, I don't wanna air out any strategy we might have.
Okay, so with that, we'll, go ahead, Mike.
Just for clarification purposes, we had some questions about active permits that we're aware of
Okay.
for that.
Yeah, so we have copies of 2 open permits, and one was issued June 15th of 2021 to New Angus, and that was for a new 60 by 105 foot wastewater pre-treatment building, and then
Tank.
46 foot diameter, 500,000 gallon tank.
And that's the northeast corner.
Right.
And then also, on October 19th of 2021, looks like we issued a new 120 by 136 foot cooler freezer addition on the southwest corner.
Yep.
So you're aware of those?
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm aware of.
Where did they get those permits?
From us.
From me.
From,
Okay.
Yeah. So, that's dates and active current permits that,
And they
We're
got
aware.
a permit on the flag, pole set up and, called me on it. And that wasn't gonna have much to do with floodplain, just for that
Mhm.
layout with the landscaping stuff. And then they also had one with a guard shack, for check-in for trucks. And, they worked with me on that, their engineer and stuff with the floodplain item, so, and that one's done, I'm gonna say 2 years ago.
okay,
So everything's actually, worked out until
for that.
now.
Okay.
The question came up earlier, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, sorry.
You got a question?
Have you guys been through as a tour? Or-
Haven't been through in quite a while.
Not since production started. We were in, before they started operating, so.
The same pre,
existing building same footprint.
Yeah.
Until now, what they're working on here.
right,
Yep.
that was with the original owners, the same
Yes.
open house kind of a situation, I think we all took
Yeah, I think
advantage
we
of.
took that
That's
as well.
it.
Beef packers then, or something
How do you
like
guys
that?
evaluate it then? If they update stuff, how do you update evaluation?
We'll inspect any additional,
Okay.
structures.
Any
Last
footage.
fall, it was all just dirt work when they started any of this. so I really didn't have anything to add for 2022 assessment.
Okay.
So,
I think it's important to request a tour.
Okay.
So,
All
thank
right.
you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very
All right.
much.
Any other questions on this issue? You have your marching orders?
Three
I'm gonna first read.
That's a cell. Oh, that's work.
Yeah, discard that number.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to the end of our scheduled agenda. Moving on to the consent calendar. Is there any other questions on that issue? Thanks, Scott. We'll wait to hear from you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Approval of general meeting minutes of April 19th.
Move.
A motion by Weiss, second by Gage. Was there one correction, Dennis?
Yeah, I think,
Yep, I got it resent to the
Yeah.
papers with the addition in
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Okay,
Sorry.
so we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes with the correction. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Feldheim.
I got one question. I noticed there was like $4,626 premium paid for the building, the Hub City Iron Building. Just wondered what budget that was gonna come out of. The pre-
Maintenance. Everything is coming out of maintenance right
I
now.
wonder if she had that in her budget.
No, nothing for this building is in the budget.
Mhm.
It'll be coming out of our unassigned general fund cash. And we're tracking that.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Plat.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feichtert, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Rezone ordinances. This is to set the hearing for them.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feichtert, second by Weiss. All in
Good
favor,
day, Barbara.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Highway surplus sales. Dirk's requesting to use Purple Wave to auction off items that have already been declared surplus.
Move. Second.
Motion by Weiss.
Take your pick.
Motion by Weiss, second by Feldheim. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Weed and Pest Board appointment.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feichtert, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Out-of-state travel request.
Move it.
Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Fair contract.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feichtert, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lease renewal addendum.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Feichtert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Sheriff's report.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Feldheim. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Always interesting
Move.
reading. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Fireworks permit.
Move.
Motion by Gage,
Second, on our corner, on the county's corner.
second by Weiss. To approve the Richmond Lake Association fireworks permit over the 4th of July. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Leases.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feichtert, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any other business to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? We've had a request to go into executive session to discuss contracts and pending legal. We'll add to that. Is there anything else to come before the Brown County Commission?
Move to an exec.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss to go into executive session to discuss contracts and legal. We are in exec.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
according to them.
Yeah.
Cameras back on.
Yeah.
10 years.
Thank you.
Is there anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? entertain a motion to
Do
adjourn.
we want to talk about no action as a result of exec?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Mhm, I got
No,
you. I didn't.
Well, go without saying, but sorry, yes. We're out of exec, no action as a result. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Fiker to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.